Hello everyone and welcome to another live protocol video. So on this video we're going to be focusing on the INTJ personality type, and we're going to be talking about Mr. Elon Musk, because I do think he is indeed an INTJ, and I'm going to be using him as an example and try to explain a little bit more of how the INTJ mind works and how Elon Musk's mind works, because I do believe he's an ENTJ. So let's dive inside. Let's try to peer inside the mind of one of the most intriguing, curious, accomplished visionaries of our time, Mr. Elon Musk. Welcome to another episode of my series analyzing popular characters and subsequently their MBTI types. So I chose Elon Musk as the poster boy for the INTJ type. Now, I want to say that not all INTJs are going to be the same, but it does mean that they all use the same operating system. But as life progresses and life experiences accumulate, the more everyone forms their unique identity. So let's analyze the first function of the INTJ personality type, which is introverted intuition, or NI, which makes up the majority of this so-called operating system. So it is my belief that NI, or introverted intuition, stems primarily from the trauma of betrayal. This doesn't mean that all INTJs had to have been betrayed to start developing their introverted intuition. As far as I know, they were born this way. So it is my theory that during human evolution, 8 types of brains were developed, since in the traumas that people suffered were the tools that coded the way these 8 types of brains work. And why traumas, you might ask? Because only a sufficiently damaging or powerful enough emotion has the capacity to leave a deep and everlasting impression on the brain. So these impressions are passed down from generation to generation, refining and evolving the operating system. Although the stigma still lies on the subconscious, the stigma is the feeling behind it. Sometimes you feel like something triggers you more. Some things trigger you more than other things, but you really don't know why. That's what I mean. NI, aka betrayal, forces people to look ahead in order to prevent them from being betrayed again. This gives rise to the focus on prevention, strategy, planning, pattern recognition, seeking understanding, and extreme caution, all in order to avoid being betrayed again. But over time, this process is applied to all other situations in life. And this means that creating ways to avoid bad outcomes from coming to pass. So basically, introverted intuition is a way to is a preventative trait. And this is where we find our friend Elon Musk. Elon is completely obsessed with the future and the avoidance of bad outcomes. Why electric cars? Well, that's very obvious, because of course to prevent the decline of the environment, right? And why SpaceX and the obsession of putting people on Mars? Because he knows that ultimately people will have to leave Earth. Our sun has a finite lifespan, and the only way the human race can survive over long periods of time is by being able to escape into the stars. He knows this, and although the chances of him being alive to see a fully functioning human colony on Mars are basically inexistent, he doesn't care so much about that. What he intends to do basically is to open the door, to lay the first stone, or lay the foundation for serious space exploration. He wants his name to be associated with popping the cork of going into different planets. So far we have only been to the moon, right? So he wants to be a pioneer. Another aspect of introverted intuition is what I mentioned before. It's preventative trait. Therefore, this over focus on prevention entails a sense of urgency, because if nothing is done, catastrophe becomes certainty. Let me explain. What would you do if you saw a disaster? If you saw an uncomfortable or undesirable situation coming, you would want to take action, right? So that's what Elon Musk does. Anti-dominant types, INTJs and INFJs, want to solve the problem before it has occurred because they can very accurately predict the most probable outcome, right? So why did Elon Musk buy Twitter, for example, now named X? Because he understands very well the future dangers of a society that loses its freedom of speech. So Elon Musk understands that when things stray too far towards one side, and in this case towards the left, and the canceling aspect of holier than that holier than thou mindset, right? So he saw that balance was endangered. So we need a balance that allows for consensus for peace to exist, right? So he saw that was becoming endangered, so he felt the need to act, and because he has the means for it, he very well did. So he bought the social media platform to prevent things from running too far past the point of no return. So as you can see, Elon Musk's mind is a catastrophe prevention machine, and that is very strong introverted intuition at play. But I believe that there are other aspects to Elon Musk's personality that propel him to be a hyper-entrepreneurial other than his very strong introverted intuition. And I believe that has to do with the secondary function of TE, or extroverted thinking. So in my system of traumas, TE, or extroverted thinking, stems from the trauma of abandonment. This doesn't mean that everyone with high TE, ENTJs, INTJs, ESTJs, and ISTJs were actually abandoned in their lives. It just means that's just how their brains work. And why do I believe extroverted thinking stems from the trauma of abandonment? Because people who live with the stigma of having been abandoned feel they're not good enough. Feel like they're not worthy. This prompts them to try to prove themselves over and over again. Strong TE types spend their lives looking to accomplish and achieve. So they bury themselves in projects and goals in an attempt to fill that hole, to fill that void left by the stigma of having been abandoned, even though they were not abandoned. They not necessarily abandoned, some of them might have been. I can't tell that for sure, but the stigma of abandonment lies within extroverted thinking. Anyway, so considering that the highest representation of success in our society, or the way most people prove their worth, is to amass as much money and power as possible, it comes as no surprise that INTJs, and more specifically Elon Musk, look for that sense of accomplishment to fill the void left by that stigma of abandonment. They have to prove that they're worthy, their worth, right? So not only Elon Musk fiercely seeks to prevent bad outcomes from occurring, he also looks to prove his worth at the same time. And that is common to all INTJs who haven't become jaded. We gotta state that, because every type can become jaded. Even the very caring ISFJs, they have a point. Everyone has a point where they break. And we have a good example of an INTJ that became jaded and went too far into the dark side, and is known as the Unabomber. So yeah, but what all INTJs have in common is their operating system. And when I say operating system, it doesn't mean that we are machines. That's not what I mean. It just means that even though thousands or millions of people share the same personality type, it means that you won't find anyone that is exactly the same, not even twins, right? Because like I said, everyone has their own life experiences, and that molds the person. But it does mean, what I mean is that their approach, all INTJs approach to life, or their system, or the way they used to solve problems and make decisions, is very similar. And that is Elon Musk, and on a broader scale, the way all INTJs tend to be like. Hyper capable people, constantly looking to solve problems before they occur, because they can literally see the most likely outcome of future events inside their mind, due to their introverted intuition or their stigma of betrayal. They're constantly looking ahead so nothing bad happens to them. But as time progresses, they use that same way of thinking, the same method of thinking, and they strategize so nothing bad happens. or they try to avoid it. Anyway, they're preventative, very preventative. And at the same time, they are super driven to accomplish, achieve, and complete in order to prove their worth. If not to others, then prove it to themselves. Because I don't think they care too much about what other people think of them. Maybe they do care about the people they are important to them in their lives. But that can be said about anyone anyway. So, and this is due to their secondary function of extroverted thinking, or the stigma of abandonment. At least that's the way I see it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
If you liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. That will allow us to keep making more videos like this. For more related content, please click on one of the suggested videos. Thank you for watching.